Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and DiscoveringBands.com. And for everyone watching who shares video on my channel and help support the awesome bands I feature. And today I'm here with Amaranth. How you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, Michael? Pleasure to speak to you as always.
Yeah, it's great to have you back because it's been a while since we've talked. I know you've been up to a lot with everything. So let's all start off and talk about your single Noxious.
Sure. That was one that we had come out during the pandemic and is going to be on our upcoming album. And it was kind of just, I don't know, something that hit us of men calling out men for our bad behavior. You know, we always talk about trying to move things forward and do a better job of making our scene an inclusive place and a safe place. But how often are we looking at our bro and saying, hey, what you just said there or the way that you're acting is not cool. And I don't want to be associated with that. You need to up your behavior. And so that song was a call out to that. And plus I just, get to say fuck boy over and over again, which always cracks me up. So yeah, it was a cool song and really interesting. And we're excited to have it as the big release of our new album that's coming out in a couple months. And the new single, the title track, Gothtimism, that I'm real excited to talk about that comes out in 2 weeks.
Yes, let's talk about that single. Are you going to be doing a video for that too?
Yeah, we are going to do a video for that one. And I think the thing that's so exciting for me about this single is that it goes hand in hand with the other thing I do, which is Sounds and Shadows. And the idea of Gothtimism to me is there's so many tough things going on in the world right now. And it's easy to kind of live that goth life of getting down about it. But Sounds and Shadows to me has been all about bringing together artists, musicians, DJs, other people in the scene, and kind of with the help of your friends, finding a bright light at the end of that tunnel. And so on this, we have guest performances by legends like Jean-Marc Letterman, Dan Milligan of Joy Thieves and the Burying Kind, Jason Corbett of Actors plays guitar on it. We have, I think, 7 or 8 guest vocalists that are doing backups with me. So it really kind of is a song that embodies the Sounds and Shadows mythos or mindset, you know. So it's really cool the way that it came together. So I'm very excited about this release and everybody that contributed to it.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome. So I can't wait to hear that.
I'll make sure to send you a copy, Michael.
Well, thank you. And can you give us a little more details about the album? Some of the other themes?
Sure. So, I mean, it's us, and Amaranth is a very silly goth band. So there's going to be a lot of that. But I think to me, that's an important part of goth music is that you can't take yourself too seriously. I mean, it is serious at times, and the things that affect us and darker themes are serious to think about, but I don't know, my way to deal with that is to kind of be a little absurd and laugh at that. So we have everything from, we just had a song that'll be on the album coming up on The Unquiet Grave, which is the last of the Cleo compilations. And I just did an interview with Ethan, who put it together with Procession Magazine. And so our song for that one is called Thighs. And to me, again, it goes with that darker theme, but tongue-in-cheek of you go out and play a show. You're out on the road in some town in the Midwest. You wake up, bottles around you everywhere, and you look at your partner's inner thigh laying there in bed, and it's a perfect imprint of your makeup palette from the night before. And you just look over at it and see your kind of image of your own face. And that, I don't know, I got the idea in my head and this image struck me. And so that's what that song was about. And again, in 2022, if there's one thing that we need, it's more songs about going down. So no, we're excited for that one too. And we have songs about goblins. We have a ton of guest artists that have come through my connections in Sounds and Shadows. And this truly is just a giant collaboration album of talent. And I feel like a great step from when we did Spreading the Charred Remains of Hope back in 2019, which was very progressive and a lot more serious in some ways. This one, we wanted to do stuff that's fun to dance to. A lot of pop flavor, although very dark, and a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor.
I want to bring up Sounds and Shadows because, like my channel, I help people discover music. It's awesome having your channel. I discover a lot of music too. And how do you come across a lot of these artists like yourself? Do you research them? They come to you? Or?
You know, it's a little of both. I think it's one of those things that when it started out, it was me out there looking everywhere and trying to find new bands and new music. But I suppose Sounds and Shadows, both the Facebook group, the YouTube channel, and the music review page have kind of taken a life of its own now. I think we just hit 4,500 members or something in it. And so, yes, I now actively have a lot of people reaching out to me at this point saying, hey, hear my new thing, hear this. And it's great just getting a chance to hear all this new music and try it and find stuff that speaks to me. But it is to the point now where sometimes it feels a bit like a tidal wave of music is coming at me all the time. And I'm just trying to find a moment to explore and try new things and get new bands into my rotation.
And with your interviews, do you have a set schedule or just try and do them when you can? Or?
Yeah, it's very much when we can, and sometimes because we do interviews in Europe or South America or all different places, so you got to watch time zones, and that comes into factor. But yeah, generally we record them on Wednesday evenings, and then Katie, my amazing editor that I couldn't possibly do Sounds and Shadows with, puts the polish on them and puts everything together, and then we release them on Fridays. And wow, we've had a lot of exciting ones for the webpage. I really hope everybody goes out and follows our interviews because, when I first started doing the podcast interviews, you were somebody, and I've talked to you about this, Michael, that I really watched a lot of your interviews trying to get better myself. And I love your format and the way you do it, how you keep it very tight, very learning a lot about a lot of bands. And I think with the Sounds and Shadows one, more what it is we usually shoot an hour-long interview. And we've worked on cutting it up into smaller pieces for like TikTok or like Facebook and things like that. But I like having an in-depth, long conversation. And I love the fact that we're both doing that, but offering different things to fans depending on how deep they want to dive into that band. So yeah, we released them there, and some of the exciting ones we've had lately, Christian Death. I mean, that was incredible. I got to interview Valor and go see him play, and that was amazing. Dusty from Vision Video, that was a lot of fun. Ethan, as I was saying, from the band Noir, but also is the publicity rep for Cleopatra Records and was for a lot of years and did so many of those compilations and put together the On Quiet Grave. And we're going to keep having more exciting ones come up. So I'm really thrilled to keep doing that, and that's very rewarding and a lot of fun for me.
I like your interview at Ashbury Heights because I got to talk to them too, and I'm a big fan of them. So it's awesome to see you had them. Just
amazing. And it was so funny, like, because I talk them, they're in the Sound Shadows Facebook group, so I talk a fair amount, but seeing them there all done up in like cool smoking jacket, and she had this really neat dress and holding a giant goblet of wine by a fireplace and stuff, they just look the part of rock star every bit and had this just coolness to them. And I think I was there in my pajamas and a t-shirt that day, and I was like, wow, you guys are way more prepared for this than I am.
That's funny. Now I want to talk about the Joy Thieves charity single. Tell us a little about that.
That was so much fun. So Dan reached out to me. It's kind of a running bit on Sounds and Shadows that when anybody would kind of get into me or ask me a question I didn't want to answer on the group, I would just respond with, well, do you like the Heart in a Blender song? Because it was something that Max Collins from Eve 6 on his Twitter would say to a lot of people. And so it kind of became a running bit. And then Dan said, hey, we should do a cover of Inside Out. And at first we kind of joked around, but Colin and I got sloppy one night and laid down vocal parts and the bass and everything. We sent it over to Dan, and then Dan had a lot going with The Burying Kind and Joy Thieves, so he just kind of backburnered it for a few months, and we didn't really think any more of it. He came back to us a few months later and just said, I just heard this and it's great. And then he started adding in all the other parts and other people to it. And we got the thing done, and it actually sounded great once Dan had his way with it. So we then tried to figure out what we wanted to do with it, and we decided to release it as charity. And Maya, who's Colin's partner, my bass player in Amaranth, had just gone to Ukraine for the Peace Corps. And so she had some charities in particular, and one she picked out that she thought would be good with everything going on in the world. And I was amazed how much money we were able to raise for Ukrainian humanitarian relief with our Goth cover of Inside Out by Eve 6. And Max Collins somehow got word of it and saw it, and he shared it on his Twitter, and then it blew up, and we raised a lot more money after that. So it was just a good feeling to do a fun song of the Thieve 6 cover, and also to raise money for a good cause.
Yeah, great cause. Now, I want to say, with Amaranth, do you have any live shows planned coming up?
We have just started deciding that we're going to get back into live shows. So I've had a couple of bands now that I'm very excited about reach out to me. And I think I'm going to start out setting up some shows here in Kalamazoo that has a secretly awesome goth scene. So there's a lot of bands that are out on tour right now playing Detroit and Chicago, and we're that perfect stop off in between. So for the first time in 3 years since everything's been happening, I have a couple of very cool big name acts that have reached out to me, and I'm going to work on trying to set that up here for the fine folks that wear eyeliner and fishnets in Kalamazoo.
Awesome. Yeah, you could probably do a Sounds and Shadows event if you wanted to, right?
You know, we were actually talking about that, and we had the idea to really do like a Sounds and Shadows festival, and then the pandemic hit. And I kind of said, well, for me doing this for the first time and trying to learn on the fly during a pandemic is not the time. But I think I'm going to start opening that possibility up, and I would love to be able to do a Sounds and Shadows. And we actually have an amazing bar here in Bell's Brewery that has one of the best sound systems around. Larry put a lot of money into that for live bands playing there, so I might be able to set up a goth festival in Kalamazoo sometime soon.
That's awesome. I'm actually working on the same thing now, a Discovering Bands Festival in New Jersey, so I'm hoping to get that.
Well, any way that I can help, Michael, I would be happy to. Let me know, and of course we'll make sure to promote well for you in Sounds and Shadows. I love what you do, brother. Appreciate
it. Same here. Same with you. Now, if people want to find your music online, look you up on social media, how do they do that?
So you can go to the Amaranth at Bandcamp, and that's the easiest way to get our new releases for that. The previous mentioned single is Thieve 6, a play on Joy Thieves and Eve 6, the cover. And then the compilation I talked about from Procession Magazine is called The Unquiet Grave. And it's actually, I think, like one of the top 3 goth sellers right now on Bandcamp. So that one's pretty easy to find, and those are all places you can. And then for Sounds and Shadows, we're on Facebook, Twitter, now newly on TikTok. We just started doing that because Katie, my producer, is very into TikTok. So my 44-year-old ass is trying to learn new tricks and patch the videos together for that. And then, of course, the soundsandshadows.com, the review page where we have all of our reviews. I just put one out last night for 2 huge albums that came out from, to me, proto-goth bands that have been an important part of the scene forever, that just had new albums and aren't just, I don't know, rehashing what they've done before, doing something new and cutting edge. And it was Christian Death and the Cassandra Complex with Rodney Orpheus. So that was awesome, and those are available there. But I also always have brand new reviews of all the exciting new bands that I'm coming across in all of the dark scene. And we've also been doing a chart every month, a Sounds and Shadows Dark Scene chart, where I do the top 10 singles voted on by DJs, superfans, bands, all the people that are part of the Sounds and Shadows community. And I really love the fact that instead of, I don't know, like the DAC, like the Deutsch Alternative chart, which a little bit you have to kind of pay to play to get on the DJ's list to get on this, anybody can be a part of it, and it's just by the Sounds and Shadows members' votes 100%. So a lot of bands that don't necessarily get to be on a chart because they're more underground or something like that find themselves on our singles chart, and I love that. It's such an important part of the scene to give new bands a chance that maybe don't have access to get that kind of recognition.
Yeah, I really like that whole voting system, like you said, not having to pay to get on there or something, let the people decide. So
yeah, anybody who wants to can put their song up there, put their link up there, and then it's just by the fans deciding what they're hearing, what they're enjoying, and what's speaking to them. And I love the fact that it opens up a lot of genres and splinter parts that maybe we don't hear as much. Like we just did an interview not long ago with a witch house band, and getting a chance to, I don't know, like open my own eyes to new things that I didn't necessarily, I don't know about as 44, where I'm always learning about new music and new things. So.
Awesome. Well, it was good having you and talking with you, and looking forward to what you have coming up in the future. And everybody, look him up.
Exactly. It's wonderful being on it. And again, thank you for what you do here. You always do a great job of, to me, something that you and I see eye to eye on, and it's lifting up bands and people's knowledge of the scene and just giving a place to get excited about dark scene music. So thank you too.
Thank you, and thank you too, because I discover a lot of music for your channel and site too. So it's the same basically. So
wonderful. Oh, and wait, I want to give one more shout out here. I just got in the mail today another group that does this with a Cemetery Confessions, that runs a YouTube channel and has these t-shirts, and I got one today. That's another great way to learn about dark scene and goth music, Cemetery Confessions.